Hi, I'm going to show you one great way to take a variety of documents that have been provided as curriculum, some of which may or may not be assignable or are individual links or are simulations or individual videos, all of which can be very confusing if given individually to students, especially through Google Classroom. This easy to use method by combining everything in a Google form as a lesson format is a great solution to help. So using this format, you can still do grade importing, and in this way you are able to provide grades easily, and there's no separate documents assigned to the students because they are simply completing everything in Google Forms. We are used to seeing Google Forms in the form of assessments with very long pages, so this is just taking it a step further and combining expertise through sections as well as some innovative approaches. Let's go to the preview mode, which shows you a little bit more of what it's like to operate this through a student. You can, of course, set up your settings in any way that you choose for what is required and not required by student entry. And then, of course, the settings have a lot to do with this. But if you've got housekeeping items that you're frustrated that students aren't reading, you can force them to correspond, including by saying that they're going to read all the instructions and that they're going to need to submit and be able to go back to this form because they too are probably only accustomed to using forms as assessments. Once they go to the next section, in this example, we have a lesson set up with getting started. It's nice to be able to include the inquiry and phenomenon-based questions and even have them interacting before they even really begin. Then they can get to the next section, and the next couple of sections are similar, so I'll just breeze through a little bit. But notice how we can add videos. We can be a little more innovative with our, forgot. We can be informative with instructional text of what's being graded and not and how it's being graded. We can, of course, add those videos with thinking points. And going to the next section, we can add more instructional text with alternatives, including information about how to split screens or other remote kind of teaching tips to help students through. And in this example, we've created the sections to where a student will have to answer the last question correctly in order to move on. So this is a great tip for differentiating, either for language or for just repetition. So in this example, they need to repeat a question, and if they get it wrong, they will need to repeat the same section, not the entire form, just the section. That's done in multiple choice as I will show you. That's taking a multiple choice. It can only be done in the multiple choice format. And based on the clicking this button right here, go to section based on answer, then you can guide that motion. There's a couple of bugs in here in that you need to, if you're providing feedback, you still need to explain to them that they are going to have to retake the question or else they won't know. I'm hoping it's just a temporary bug that they'll work out. But anyway, it is really cool that you can have that interactivity, that they must repeat this section and get not all the questions, just the ones that we've set it for, correct before they can move on to the next one. This can be done with, again, with any multiple choice question, not any other kinds. And you can make unfailable quizzes by doing that method too, which is kind of cool. So by the use of those sections, we've created this piece. Then we can say, how do you like something? We can put in some effective domain questions. And then here, they are either going to go take a separate form, which is the actual assessment. They may be accustomed to looking at that. Or they may continue to the optional extensions, which we've provided. So the previous one would have just taken them to submit. Of course, you can add extensions with at-home encouragement of observations. You can have them upload their own observations, watch videos, fill in the blank. When they answer, they'll get a bonus video. They can go to Get Epic. They can make special requests. So once they submit, they can edit their response over and over again. They can view their score. This is where that feedback for correct and incorrect answers is even more important. Don't worry if in this example with the short answer, that's kind of hard to grade right then, but they can get their feedback and then they can go back and complete it over and over again until they get it perfect, which is really fun. So that's all set up in this master form through the use of sections. This is the number of the section, not this. This is the student-friendly version. The student-friendly language is here, but if you're programming to do multiple choice questions to respond by question, you need to be a little careful that you're directing them to the right spot. And then it just takes trial and error to figure out which part types, that's what these are, question, etc., which part types will maintain links well, which ones won't. But just thinking about it from the student perspective can be really quite innovative with that. Okay, responses, of course, by summary. Question is helpful, especially if you're doing grade importing, you can grade it through Google Classroom, or you can look at the, you can provide feedback and updates in here. You can even do an exemplar, which is kind of nice. You can do individual, but I use this piece, and then I've already used it, but if it was your first time, you could either choose an existing sheet or a new sheet, and I always choose an existing sheet and direct it to a single spreadsheet that I've used all year long. So I can tab through, I can't do it in this video because it's student data, but I can tab through and look at the results of every single form throughout the entire year, which is really nice. So I can look at their scores, I can have a record of their writing, their timestamps, etc. But I'm doing it all in the same form over time. So there's a, it's so much more convenient. No, you cannot change content once it's been assigned. Everybody knows about that limitation with all documents. However, you have more, things that you can change after it's been assigned that still go retroactively. So if you've got one or two forms that you've created, one regular and one modified, and you need to go make changes, you don't have to go change them in every single Google Classroom or have to reassign it. You just simply make the changes either for either being able to edit or not, collect email addresses, showing progress bars, etc. And then how they see their grade, what they see, point values, etc. So you just have more choices and more options when you take a different approach using Google Forms to deliver not only assessments, but actual lesson delivery as well. I hope you find this helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.